Dear Lord, dear Lord, dear Lord. Hi, welcome to my YouTube live on a beautiful, warm Sunday in Quebec. Lots of snow to deal with. It's pretty awesome. Sorry, I'm not on my other live. Something went wrong. It's one of those weeks, but it's going to end super well because here I am. My glasses are super dirty. So hi, I'm Rochelle, and I have a Feeding a Crowd blog because it's all usually about feeding a crowd. I'm also on Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram, of course, with recipes, ideas, tips, and fun stuff. Fun stuff. Please join me. Please say hi if you're in chat and ask me questions. I love having questions. If interacting with whoever is there, with whoever joins us, is the best part of going live, of course. Else, I have plenty of material to go around, especially this week. It's been somewhat busy and interesting. So, yeah, and I want to talk about my sourdough starter. I've had a few people now use the sourdough starter that I sell. I sell it at a very good price. I give you enough for 3 batches, and the starter is unkillable. I call it a happy starter. It's as happy as you can get. You can almost mistreat it and it'll still be amazing. So please, if you need a sourdough starter, you don't need to start from scratch. You can use this one. It's like starting from scratch. I give you the recipe to start with. I give you enough for 3 recipes for 3 times. You can keep it alive for as long as you want. If ever it dies or you're done for a while, you just let it go and you have 2 more recipes to use. And I ship, of course. So please look at it. It's on my website, Sourdough Starter. It's my daughter-in-law, Michelle, my son, started it about a year ago. Well, probably a bit less. And they're still going strong. They use sourdough all the time. They use it in everything because once you have sourdough starter, you use it in everything. It's good for you. It changes how the flour reacts in your gut, and it's just not as hard as we think. It's very forgiving. Sourdough, especially this one, this happy starter is very forgiving. So if you need sourdough starter, it's dehydrated. I take care to do it properly, and it works well. So that's it for the sourdough starter. Also, I do have 2 new pages. I did talk about this one already. I have a store now online. It's called Lucky Finds Thrift Store. I go through thrift stores, I go through antique stores, I rummage sales. And when I find kitchen utensils or dishes or that I think you would enjoy, I do get it and I resell it to you almost at the same price I bought it. It's very, very interesting. And I think that you should check it out. I'm going to leave the link here. I already have some amazing pieces there. It's going to grow as we go, as it should. And I just put the address in the chat box. So yes, and I have some spectacular Wedgwood, say that 5 times fast, dishes there. They sell for 3 times the price in US money. I'm selling it for next to nothing. They're in great condition. I am not keeping any of those beautiful dishes I find because I want to have less in my life, not more, even though I'm in love with them. But to know that those dishes will be loved by someone else is enough to make me happy. Also, I have plenty of great wooden utensils and great metal utensils. I have a Langostina set there. They sell for over $75 US, and that's like secondhand somewhere online. I'm selling it for, I think it's $20. So it's really worth it. I will, if it's local, just come and pick it up. And if it's, I will shipping. The shipping is when you buy it, you go through the process, and I'll tell you how much it costs to ship. I am happy to ship it to you. I believe we should get rid of plastic utensils as much as we can. Sometimes we do use it. It's if you have some some good quality non-stick, it is better to use silicone. I'm going to stay away from plastic and hope it's silicone, better than plastic. And as long as you're not superheating it, either the non-stick or your plastic silicone utensils, then I won't complain too much. But I do have some nice pieces in my store, and I'm going to add more this week. I'm going to add I have a super cook pressure cooker. It's almost new. It works great. It's just something I think that people should learn to use more. I just don't need it. So I'm going to pass it on. I got it. I tried it, loved it. It was a secondhand when I got it. It's great quality. The stainless steel is great quality. I'm going to show it off later. So yeah, so that's one of my new pages. My other new page is Pour se sucrer le bec. So on the French side of my blog, Nourrir la Gang, I am really compiling, and translating all my recipes to French. It's a time consuming thing. It's a work of love. I don't know if I say that properly, but yeah, it's I'm just doing it. So Pour se sucrer le bec is a new page on the French side of things. So hi, thank you, welcome, thank you for joining me, not making me feel too lonely. I forgot to share the link to a bunch of people because my other link didn't work. So yeah. And yeah, they probably couldn't even find this one if they tried. But thank you for coming. Hi, La Flèche. So yeah, so you can pass on those recipes in French now. The recipes I shared last week. To start with, well, I did have late day the poor man's pudding, which is a pudding chômeur, very Quebec oriented, made in Canada also. I have not ever seen it elsewhere, but here it's absolutely delicious. It's a poor man's pudding, literally. It's the simplest, most basic wet cake batter that you pour over, usually would have been hot maple syrup because maple syrup was plentiful. The poor people that could not get maple syrup make it with brown sugar and water that you boil down just slightly, and you pour that over the batter, and your batter cooks in the maple syrup or brown sugar, right? I do half and half, so it doesn't take too much maple syrup, so you get that full flavor. And I use I do like what brown sugar does, frankly. It's very nice to have both, and it's just delicious. You serve that with fresh cream, whipped cream. You don't have to whip it, just the cream itself, or ice cream. And because the cake cooks in the syrup, and there's like some crystallization, like candy at the side, like everyone fights for it. You fight for the corners, or you just want the center. Some people only eat the center. There's something about making poor man's pudding that is absolutely amazing. So it's called pudding chômeur in French, which is, chômeur is people on not welfare, on something. When you're off work. Anyways, so yeah, so it's called poor man's pudding. So look at that. And then I did have I do have there one of my favorite go-to dishes for when, like, all of a sudden unemployment. So imagine if we called it unemployment pudding. But yeah, it's pretty much that. It costs nothing to make. It's absolutely delicious. Try it. It blows your mind. Imagine making it, La Flèche, with spelt flour. It would add like a nuttiness to it. I love spelt flour. I believe we should use it so much more. In Europe, they use all these grains that are amazing, and their flour is not bleached like ours. It's just like, sometimes I just wish that we had more of a European influence when it comes to food here. At least we're pretty good in Canada. I can't complain. And unbleached flour is easy to get by, and it's all I buy is unbleached flour. And if I want to make pastry flour, it's so easy. You remove, I think it's 1 or 2 tablespoons of flour from your cup, and you add cornstarch. And that's what pastry flour is. No need to buy it. It's stupid to buy it. Now that I knew that, now I just never buy any other flour except my unbleached. So yeah, so spelt flour I love, and I have it in everything, which you'll see in a few minutes. So my 7 ingredient dish, believe it or not. So, like we're 8 for supper, which was the typical Tuesday night or noodle night. And all of a sudden, like two more people come, it's fine, we're 10, we'll just add to the table, add one of those extensions. And, we always have extra chairs. And then two more come. And, it's like, okay. So we're 12, not the end of the world. Well, it was pretty easy because it's just 7 ingredients. It's sausages, Parmesan, pasta. I usually deglaze, I think it's white wine. I'm not sure exactly. I should look it up. But it's really 7 ingredients, like max. Oh, and broccoli, or because I started making it with spinach, because I loved baby spinach in that dish. So it's just a quick dish. So you just cook your sausage, you deglaze it with onion. You don't have to put onion, but I like onions. I usually start with onion, garlic, then the sausage, and then you cook that, you deglaze it, you add spinach, pasta, salt and pepper, and you finish with Parmesan. And it's just, the kids eat that like they basically like shoveling into their mouths. And it's just delicious. And you can make one big bowl, you can make two big bowls, you just add more pasta and more veggies or more sausage. You can just, it's so versatile. And then once I made it with broccoli, and it was people loved it as much. I usually add the broccoli at the very last 1 minute of cooking the pasta. So basically I'm blanching the broccoli and it still has in the pasta that crunch. I also make it with leeks. Instead of onions, you just put in tons of leeks with it's delicious with the sausage. So, you know, let's do that. So 7 ingredient pasta dish came out last week. Ratatouille, we talked about the movie. I did watch part of it, actually. It's very funny. I love the humor in there. God, I think I would get along famously with the French. So, yeah, so ratatouille is something you often make in the fall or in the summer because it's all fresh veggies. I bet you could make it in the winter because, I obviously made it for you in the winter. But I did make it a lot in the summer when the zucchinis are plentiful, tomatoes, onions. Onions are year round, and eggplant, which start in late July. I've discovered eggplant and I grow all kinds now and I just love them. I don't like how they make it in a pot. I just don't. I find it's overcooked. I just don't like how the traditional way of making ratatouille is not my thing. I like it simpler, I like it beautiful, and I like it with a bit of body to it. So go find my recipe, and feel free to finish it with Parmesan and good olive oil. Feel free to change the vegetables. This is, it's basically, a sideways, to me, vegetable dish. And I love it. If you do it well, it's just amazing. It's just a bit of lemon juice, a good fleur de sel, and you've got a side dish all summer long. So let's try it at ratatouille. So, and also this week I did two fun things because I had kids here. I did make the cranberry orange cream cheese muffins because I didn't have just babies here. I also have adult. It's an adult muffin, so I didn't put the cream cheese for the babies. And it's such a great muffin, and again, feel free to change the fruit, to change the zest. Blueberry and lemon zest are amazing. Cranberry and orange are a given, which is what's in this recipe. But with the cream cheese filling, it's a bit fancier. You don't have to do it, but I find that it's such a beautiful surprise inside such a moist muffin that I like it, and muffins are my go-to. Like, oh my God, people are coming. I don't have to think, just make a muffin. It's very rare I have a recipe. I have to think about it to make a recipe. So I'm like, oh my God, I have to measure, which is what I do and how I present to you these recipes. Then, because La Flèche asked me, and frankly, I wanted to do it, fricassee. Now, there's a recipe. I came out with a template, La Flèche, and you can do what you want. It's a template. Feel free to go all in, all out. Don't do something else. Fricassee is you use whatever vegetable is starting to look sad in your fridge. And if you have some frozen vegetables, go at it. If you have frozen corn, frozen peas, if you have fricassee, you basically start with your meat that's already cooked. And the idea is to caramelize the meat in your pan. So you need a really hot pan. And then you don't put your already cooked meat long in there, but you want that caramelization. Then you remove it, or you don't have to. But what I mean is that you're doing layers. And same thing with the potatoes. If you put the potatoes at the end and you don't like get a, because the potatoes do have to be parboiled, you won't get that um, caramelization on the potato, or that sauteed breakfast potato feel. So I do it in batches, and at the end I just throw everything in my big, big, big pasta bowl and toss it. You don't have to do it that way, but I find if I want a good caramelization on everything, that's how I do it. You don't have to add the stock to it, but it does help everything come together and make sure not the meat isn't dry. If you can just do the stock thing with the meat and not the veggies, I don't think you want the veggies to get soggy. So it's really like you do it, and the more often you do it, the better you get at it. But making fricassee is one of the best meals ever. In fact, my grandsons are coming this week after school, and that's what I'm making. I have leftover pork roast, and I'm going to make fricassee. Now, what vegetables are going to go in there? I don't know, but it's going to be delicious. They'll douse. Oh, you know what? The best thing to have it with is chow chow, homemade ketchup. The hot fricassee is just delicious with like chunky ketchup or a relish. There's something about the acidity of, oh no, my mouth just watering. Nom, nom. And you serve any ketchup or chutney or chow chow with your fricassee. I swear to God, it changes everything. Okay, the old fashioned people will just put ketchup. That's fine, especially if it's your own. But yeah, that's the best way to have your fricassee. Try it. It's a leftover savor. You'll love it. So the last thing I'm trying to do, because I had kids all weekend, they're still here. In fact, I have 1 hour left if I'm, or 40 minutes left of babysitting babies. They all had hand, foot, mouth disease. It was a very different 2 weeks than planned. So I made spelt oatmeal cranberry cookies. I want it to be like school galettes. Now, a lot of people don't understand galette, but galettes is a big like oatmeal cookie that kids used to buy for 50 cents or $1 later in school, from the cantina. And they're supposed to be nutritious. There is sugar in there, it's a cookie. But with the spelt flour, I think, and the cranberries, and it's 1 cup flour to 1 cup oatmeal. It's really like in galette. It's really like healthier than you want. What I'd like to do is to try to remake the recipe, and add 1 more egg and more butter and less sugar to make like a flatter galette. But you want them to be sort of crisp because they have to hold on their own. Mine were smaller and chunkier, but it was for 9-month baby and a year and a half old baby. So I needed like that hard, different texture for them. But frankly, the adults love them as much, and so do the other kids. So those oatmeal cookies are great. So have at it. I didn't even get to like the tricks and tips to supper parties. La Flèche, what do you have? Because I might keep that for next week when everything goes better. I barely made it here. What's in your fridge? I can tell, like just give me like whatever ingredient you have in your fridge, and you're like, oh my God, it's gonna go to waste. Take your time. So if I want to talk supper parties, I have so many tricks and tips that I learned. And I always say this. I used to go to someone I love having supper parties at, someone I love, love, love dearly. But she was very, 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 very stressed when we went there. And the stress sometimes fell on our shoulders, and you felt you wanted to help her because she was so stressed, and she never wanted help. She was stressed. And so you always felt a little bit bad that you went there for supper, but she loved having people over. She was just very stressed and tense. And I realized she has too many mushrooms. Ooh, that's delicious. Okay. I have at least 2 ideas coming up. So yeah, so I feel that having people over, fancy supper party, barbecue, kids, there's a tip, there's tricks to it. And once you learn to do that, it changes everything. And I'm just going to go over, like, I'm going to give 4 things, 4 easy things right now, and we can develop that this week or next week. First of all, you have a stovetop, you have an oven, You have a microwave, which I never use, but for other people, okay? And you have a crock pot, and you have a fridge, and you have a freezer. So never make sure that you have something that goes in the oven, something that's on the stove top, but not everything, one or two things maximum. Make dessert, freeze your dessert, make a frozen, make a semi-freddo. I mean, those are amazing. You can make them way ahead of time. Make an Alaska bomb. No, no, no. It's a word, the wrong name. Something Alaska, baked Alaska. You know, it's so fancy, but it's pre-made. So make sure that most of everything is done, especially dessert, a day ahead of time. Never keep dessert for that day. It's going to kill you. And then have something that is cooking in the oven that you don't have to worry about. You know, you plan on having supper at 7 or at 6:30. It goes in the oven at 5:40, 5:45, and you don't think about it. All you have left to do is the mashed potatoes on the stovetop. An example, or warm up the soup that's pre-made, and the salad that's pre-mixed, and you're not all over the place. Suddenly, because you're using all your appliances and you plan just a bit, the people come and you're not all the time in the kitchen, and you're also happy because everything is like so planned. So think about that. You're just like my friend. Well, La Flèche, we have to work on that because it's so much fun having people over. It's when you have kids at home, it's so much easier to have people over than to go out. That's why I was always hosting, because I didn't want to go out at all. Not with the car seats, not with the babies. I want to put the babies to bed at night. So I hosted, and I got good at not being stressed. So we'll talk about more. So you have mushrooms. So did you ever make a pâté chinois, but we call it pâté français. So it's made with mushrooms. So instead, shepherd's pie. So instead of the usual corn filling, you do the mushroom filling. Okay. You can use canned mushroom soup, cream of mushroom soup also to make it fancier, but you don't have to. You basically use all your mushrooms, you cook them down deliciously. You add a bit of, if you don't use milk products, you can just add a bit of water or chicken stock with cornstarch or whatever. And then, so you have the meat, you have lots of mushrooms here. You keep some for the top. Then you add your mashed potatoes or whatever you want to put there. To me, it's mashed potatoes. You put a bit more of the mushrooms on top, and you add the cheese, a bit of cheese. It's absolutely delicious. So it's called, I call it pâté français. That's one idea for mushrooms. The other idea for mushrooms is just a quick mushroom pasta. I did that yesterday for supper. I had really nice ravioli, and my kids were here. Two of my kids, well, my son and his wife. I came home at 5:30, and they had babysat for me, and I was so grateful. And I gonna make them supper, you know, after shopping all day. But it's so quick. You just onions, you just throw in the mushrooms, you cook everything down. If you have other veggies, frankly, I also put red peppers. I also put whatever I had. You cook it down. You deglaze it. I usually deglaze with vermouth, but you deglaze it with stock, water, doesn't matter. You add a bit of cream, or you just thicken it with cornstarch and have this really nice mushroom sauce that you can put on top of meat or in pasta with chicken, like leftover chicken. What else can you do with a lot of mushroom soup? Cream of mushroom soup's not my thing, except when you use it, like, you buy the cans to use it to make up something. I find that the flavor is very nice, but very Epicurean. You have to really want to. But yeah, when I have a lot of mushroom, it usually goes into a pasta or that French dish that you can never go wrong with, shepherd's pie. Of course, La Flèche, you could marinate them too. Just give them a quick parboil, put them in a marinade. There's a recipe on my site. It's called, I think it's marinated vegetables appetizer. And you do a quick marinade of red wine vinegar, a good oil. Don't put olive oil because you'll be putting it in the fridge. And then it's a snack. Then you have a nice mushroom appetizer snack that you can serve with supper, that you can serve, and then you're not losing them. So marinating your mushrooms is a super great way of keeping mushrooms. It's delicious. So I love that. Yes. And you know what? I haven't even started looking for my recipes next week because I've been taking care of babies. And that's why less recipes came out this week. Yes, guys love the marinated mushrooms. You can also serve them in a salad. Yeah, once you have marinated mushrooms, they go in everything. It's a good lunch snack, with boiled egg. Like when you have it's just a good snack to have around. And if you use apple cider vinegar, you're making it even healthier. Because apple cider vinegar is great for us. Yeah, I think so. So, what recipes? We're mid-February. Sugar Shack season is about to hit, and I've been invited for a supper. I don't know. And but what's coming? Do we start thinking? Oh, you know what? You know what? So, with everything that's going on with the trade wars and everything. Well, I read this article. So, so this is going to have me going this spring. Okay. I'm like, and I'm still going to get that rabbit. I just haven't bought it yet. We are going to make rabbit before winter is over. We still have 2 months left of winter. I like the real winter months, but not winter. Anyways, whatever. The fish knows what I mean. So during World War II in London, because they could not get food because all the ships were getting blasted out of the water and the trains were all blasting out. No, I love winter. It's very pretty. Did you go out today? I shoveled twice today. And I'm super happy with myself because I did that. And then I'm going to go for a walk because the weather is gorgeous. I love this weather where the snow is melting and you hear the drip, drip, drip of everything. And the birds are happy and everyone's outside walking as if it's 30 degrees outside and it's actually -6, but to us. Anyways. Okay, so back. I'm okay. Focus, Rochelle. Dun, dun. Okay, so during the Second World War II, because they couldn't get their own food, everyone's yards became gardens, but everyone were helping each other, right? So you didn't try to grow everything in your garden. We all gave, like, people said, okay, like if you grow the kale, I'll grow the tomatoes. And so basically, like, not everything. So, but let's say you grew 4 things really well. Well, someone else would grow something else really well, right? And in the end, what happens is that we're not dependent on the stores so much. You know that I haven't bought any fruit from you know who in 3 weeks. In fact, last week when I did my food shopping, I checked the labels on everything. And right now at my store, they have the best spinach and the best salads. Let me show you. Let me show you. Oh. I'm trying to read, but I don't have my glasses. Woo-hoo. In Quebec, made in Quebec, this mix. I've been buying because I'm eating a lot of salads, right? All my salads have been coming, they're local. I'm buying local. I'm absolutely gone crazy. And so, but imagine if we all did gardening, because I love community gardens, but it's different. But imagine, because not everyone can go to a community, we all said, look, I'm really good at growing this, this, and this. And then every 2 weeks we change, or I don't know. There has to be a method that we're not so dependent. So yeah, we're going to do a lot of canning. Make room in your cupboards, okay? Or freezers. We're going to freeze stuff. I don't know. But let's think about something. Let's think what they did during World War II, and we don't rely on everyone. We've gotten so lazy with getting food. We just pop into IGA, whatever. We pop into the food store, the local market, and we just get stuff, and we all assume that it's going to be there forever. But look at this now. It's not. Or it might not be for this year. It might be a crappy year for food, and the food prices will go up. But imagine summer is coming, and we can start eating better local. So I haven't showed you my super duper pieces, but I will show you one thing, and then I'm gonna have to sign off. Okay, so La Flèche, do you have a high? Look at this one. Look at this baby. Super duper. Oops, wrong way. Quality. Okay, super thick bottom, like super thick bottom. This is amazing. It works really well. It has for how much pressure, how hard, and this when you release the pressure. You know, it's great. It's absolutely amazing. It's gonna go on my store this week because I don't think that I'll be using it a lot. I like my crock pot. I think I should use it, but I won't. And I feel that it's like in your closet. If you didn't wear it in a year, get rid of it. So I'm going to put this, and I'm really not going to sell it for a lot. Look at my store. Thank you again. And any particular recipe you want to see La Flèche next week? You just went to Costco, but you have too many. Trying to see if I'm missing messages here. No. And the other thing that I often do, if I'm in the kitchen doing something, I do more than one thing at a time. So let's say while you're making supper, do the mushrooms. We don't have to like stop in the middle of the day to do something. Sometimes it's like, we can multitask without burning stuff. Make salmon delicious. Did you see my salmon Alfredo recipe? Okay, I'll do that. In fact, I have salmon. I want to have my dad over. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Dad. You're 84 and you're still amazing. So I'm going to call him since I texted him and he didn't answer me. So I'm going to call my dad. Happy birthday, Dad. You're the best in the world. So yes, I'll make a very healthy, healthy. I do tend to use amazing ingredients that, are interesting. But yes, I'm going to make salmon this week because I'm eating a lot of fatty fishes lately. Okay. Thanks, Stephesh. I'll relay that to you, to him. So till next week. I don't know if I'll be in the lives this week. I would like to, but I don't know. It's going to see. It depends how this week goes. And I'll let you know if I do. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe to all my channels and find me soon. I didn't even rant today because, I didn't have time to. I ranted all week. All right. Thank you, my friend. Have a great, great week.